cyberspace. And we are live. God morning, family. Welcome to live service and live streaming for those of you that are at home in your PJ Yamas. You should be here. Today's a special day. So grateful to see all of you here. We have live smiling faces right here in the sanctuary, and we are truly in sanctuary from the heat because outside it is considerably warmer. I'm Reverend Michael, your assistant minister, guide on the side today. Honored to introduce the service and honored to be here today. I was scheduled to be at Valley State Prison today, but the extreme heat advisory actually caused us to postpone our event until October. So I'm glad to be here with all of you this morning. And grateful today to have with us our guest speaker, who's not a guest at all. He's actually an extended part of Ahiah. You know, one church, many locations. Reverend Patrick Harbula, and he's here with his lovely wife. And he's going to do our wisdom talk today. Our theme for this month is Speaking Truth as Power. And Reverend Patrick's wisdom talk is Standing on Shiva. So very interesting. Just a little bit of trivia. Reverend Patrick and I go like way back, and he leads retreats on Catalina Island. He's just got this long list. I'm not going to introduce you. I don't want to steal Reverend Scott's thunder, so he's going to do the intro. But you'll be pleasantly surprised today and uplifted from his talk and his presence. So I want to just acknowledge our band, Chris Glick tickling the keyboards. It's our musical director, licensed practitioner, and also Leon Johnson is on the bass. And in the corner, our drummer holding percussions is Michael. Welcome back, Michael. Indeed, indeed. Our musical inspiration, the one and only Elizabeth Hangan in the house. Woohoo! Yes, indeed. So why don't we get God's party started? I'm just ready for congregational, aren't you? Yes, indeed. I'm glad you mentioned that. Please stand for the singing of music.
Please stand. And those of you who know the hand movements or the choreography that goes with this, please show the rest of it. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show. As me must do.
Good morning, Ahiah. Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Owens, and I have the privilege and the blessing to be a practitioner here at Ahiah. This morning, the reading is from 365 Science of Mind, A Year of Daily Wisdom from Ernest Holmes. And it is dated July 16th. And it is called, I am endowed with the perfection of God. How about that? Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. Matthew, 5th chapter. Can't read that without my glasses. 48 verse. 48. When Jesus said, Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect, he was telling us that there is a perfection at the center of all things which recognized will spring into being. We must learn to identify ourselves with this perfection, to so accept it that it is real to us, and to so live that it may be expressed through us. Every organ, action, and function of our physical body is rooted in spiritual perfection, from which it draws life. If this were not true, we could not be here. No matter how imperfect or painful or discordant the appearance may be, there is still an underlying perfection, an inner wholeness, a complete and perfect life, which is God. Therefore, I say to my physical body, be ye perfect, because you already are perfect in the divine light. There is one life. That life is God. That life is your life now. This life circulates through you. It animates your whole being. You are one with its peace and wholeness. There is no inaction in this divine life. There is no stoppage, nor hindrance, nor obstruction to it. And whatever may seem to be to the contrary is false. For I am identifying my physical body with the body of pure spirit. I am opening my mind as a channel for the realization of the divine presence. I affirm it and accept it. There is nothing in me that can deny or reject it, because God is perfect. I am perfect. Quietly, I affirm and reaffirm these simple statements until they sink into my consciousness and become a habit pattern of thought that is no longer rejected. With complete conviction, I accept the wholeness of the Spirit, and as I do so, I identify myself and everything that I am with the harmony and the perfection and the wholeness of the life of God. And so it is. Please join me now in prayer. There is but one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life and your life right now. And as we live in that light, we accept the loving perfection that the divine is within all of us. And I give grateful thanks for this. We are blessed to be here with Spirit and with people of like mind, not only here in the sanctuary, but through electronic media, because we all are one with God. And I give grateful thanks to have Reverend Scott and Reverend Mike here to deliver the message that Spirit speaks through them. I give grateful thanks to have the musicians and the singers that bring the sound, the beautiful sound that Spirit is, into being so that we may all hear it. And I'm grateful for those who come here to service, to be of service. The greeters, the ushers, the people on the sound, the people who handle all of the things in the back that we don't see so that we may have a blessed, blessed time in this place. And I release these words of prayer, of gratitude, of gratefulness, of wonder, of love, of joy to Spirit, to the law of Spirit, knowing that it has been heard and Spirit is here acting for our highest good. And so I let it be in my life and in your life, and together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. Namaste and Ashe.
Thank you, Jackie. And so as Elizabeth and the band get ready, let's go ahead and just turn to your neighbor here and give them a nice wave. And I'll give a nice wave to all of our folks that are online. It's just so nice to have everybody here. It really is. So, Elizabeth.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to a song. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is well. There's just a lot of excitement in the air this morning. I don't know, it's just lots of good stuff. But this song, lots of good stuff. This is a song that Chris wrote and we're going to do this morning. Okay. There he goes. So again, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone watching. Hard times, yes, it's some hard times, but people stand fast. They go on. Hear the voices of the children as they play. Listen to the mockingbird, hear the bluebird sing. Please listen to them now. Hard times, yes, it's some hard times, but people stand fast. They go on, yes they do. Feel the Spirit reach deep inside. Feel the sun shine in your heart. Let it shine, it's everlasting love. Shine, it's everlasting light. Let it shine, it's everlasting.
Yes, yes. Let it shine its everlasting light. It's a perfect song for today, I think. Oh, so this month of July, can you believe it? We're halfway through now. Wow, just rolling right along. Yeah. So we've been talking about standing, or not standing, saying truth, speaking truth as power rather than speaking truth to power this month. We've had a couple Sundays to work through that already, and it's a powerful topic. You know, our kids, they went to summer camp this last week. They got back yesterday, and I see Malachi here. I just want to say thank you. You know, let's give Malachi a round of applause. He works so hard with our youth. And by the way, Harris was up with the youth also at the teen camp. He was there for North Hollywood and working with more youth, you know, and it's just so important, the work that we do and other centers for spiritual living do for our youth. It's hard to be a kid nowadays. You know, much harder than when I was a kid, I think. And so every tool that we can give them, every inspiration that we can give them, every knowing that we can give them, every way that we can give them the power to speak truth as power is important. It's important. So thank you guys. So, wow. So we have a lot going on here at Ahiah. You know, we've got a lot of stuff that I'll talk a little bit about later, but I want to introduce us to our guest speaker. He's been to Ahiah before. It's been a little while, but Reverend Patrick Harbula. He's a spiritual leader, a counselor, and a coach for over 35 years, and reaches hundreds of thousands of people through his work in workshops and all sorts of activities that he does. He's the author of Magic of the Soul, Applying Spiritual Power to Daily Living, which is a CSL curriculum, Journey of the Soul, and he recently released a book by St. Martin Press, Meditation, The Simple and Practical Ways. I know they have some books that are back there that they'll be selling after service, so you can take a look through that. He's the founder of Living Purpose Institute and creator of the Life Coaching Certificate Program and the Primal Fire Intensive on Catalina Island. He is the founding executive editor of Meditation Magazine, and he's speaking on the most important principles in New Thought today. So please, let's go ahead and welcome Reverend Patrick Harbula up to the stage.
I love doing that, especially with an amazing band. One more time for these guys. Are they incredible? So happy to be back. It's been a little while since I've been here. And, you know, usually when I speak at a center, The minister takes a vacation, and I was so glad when I walked in and I saw Reverend Scott here, and we get to be together. And my old brother, Reverend Michael, so glad that the warden pardoned you so that you could be here for today. I didn't even know he was in jail, man, but teasing my brother. So it really is great to be back. So yeah, the theme today is standing on Shiva, but my talk title is, oh, thank you so much. My talk title is The Most Important Principle in New Thought. I'm going to ask some questions for you to mull over as I go through the beginning of this. So what is the most important principle in New Thought? And Shiva is the god of power. What is the one power? What is the affirmation for today is I wake up to the truth of spirit that I am. What is the truth of spirit that I am? What is the most important principle, quality, experience in New Thought? I heard somebody say it. Love. Got it. First answer right there. That's what I'm talking about today. So my wife and I took a trip to India about, 20 years ago or so. And we got to stay at the Sai Baba ashram. I was always a fan of Sai Baba because what I knew about him is he wasn't one of these gurus who just piles up a lot of money and builds palaces. I mean, he had a pretty nice place to live. But the money that they received in donations went to creating a college that was free for anyone in the country that wanted to come, creating a hospital that was free to anyone who lived in the country, creating irrigations for villages that had no water, right? So he's really doing a lot of good. But the thing that I got from being in that ashram for a little while is just being in the aura of this man who was all about love, all about honoring all paths of the ones just as we do in our teaching. But I had never been in a group of even 10 people, let alone at that time there were 60,000 people in the ashram the week that we were there. I'd never been in a group of 100 people that had as clear and focused an intention, which was to live the teachings of Sai Baba, which is all about love, loving everyone, loving everything. And it was interesting. We saw this guy speaking there, doing a lecture, and he said, Jesus Christ said, love your neighbor as yourself. And he said, I don't know if Jesus ever met my neighbor, my next door neighbor. He said, I can love anybody except for my next door neighbor, right? So I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit. But here's a little quote from Anthony DeMello. What is love? Take a look at a rose. Is it possible for the rose to say, I shall offer my fragrance to good people and withhold it from bad people? Or can you imagine a lamp that withholds its rays from a wicked person who seeks to walk in its light? It could only do so by ceasing to be a lamp. And observe how helplessly and indiscriminately a tree gives its shade to everyone, good and bad, young and old, high and low, to animals and humans and every living creature, even those who would seek to cut it down. So this is the first quality of love, is its indiscriminate character. I'm going to tell you a story that came from, this was published in 1986, volume 1, number 4 of Meditation Magazine, which I used to publish, as you mentioned. And it's a really cool issue, too. It's called, the title of the issue is called Love is Feeding Everyone. It's Dennis Weaver, who had a program at the time, feeding the homeless, feeding children especially. And so, let's see, I got to find the page because I'm going to read you a little bit from it. Page 24. So, the story is called A Man with No Arms. And so this man with a hood and a black cape is walking down the street, comes to a bus stop, and there's a gentleman standing there, and he says, Sir, can you pull the hood from my face? I have no arms. And the man said, look, I'd love to, but I'm on my way to the doctor. He gets on the bus, and he says, I should have helped that guy, But, he made me nervous. And me with my bad heart, I just, with that cape, that black cape and the hood, I just was afraid. And so the man with no arms walks down the street, and he sees old Mrs. Reeslap sitting on her porch, rocking in her chair. And he says, "Ma'am, could you help me? Could you pull the hood from my face so I can see I have no arms?" And she says, "Look, Sonny, you young people, you don't know what it's like being 70 years old. It's easy for you. Go ask somebody else to do your chore." So now he walks on for a few miles. He's walking across this bridge, and he sees this man at the top of the bridge, and he's looking down at the water. And it's clear that this man is about to jump. And he says, "Sir, please, I cannot assist you. I don't have any arms. Please, you must pull the hood from my face." The man jumps off. There's a happy ending. He walks a couple miles further, and I'm going to read you the last part. "The stranger walked across the bridge, his head bent forward. For several hours he climbed the steep hill on the opposite side. At last, nearing the top, he stood for a moment looking at the sleepy face of a little girl in the second-story window of a farmhouse. She raised the sash and looked down at him. 'Are you lost?' she asked. 'No,' he answered, 'but perhaps you can help me. Will you pull the hood from my face? I have no arms.' She said, 'I'm not supposed to go outside at night, but if you feel bad, I'll come down.'" I always get teary with this. At just that moment, an early morning wind blew through the treetops, across the meadow, around the house, and gently lifted the hood from the stranger's face. The face seemed to light up the entire mountain. "Are you the sun?" asked the little girl. "No," said the stranger. "I am love." Isn't that beautiful? Let's take a deep breath into that. Because guess what? Not as only is he love, but you are love. We are love, right? My first teacher, Dr. Earl Barnum, wisest man I ever knew, ordained me in 1986. He said it this way. He said, and I quote him in my book, this very quote, and I'd never heard it said like this before or since exactly, but that our pure nature is love flowing through us. In fact, to go back to Sai Baba, what I got from that, the phrase that came to me is, we are love unfolding love. That's what we are. We're love unfolding more love. That's what we're here to do. So Dr. Barnum said, our natural state is one of love flowing through us unimpeded, easily, effortlessly. And he said this, that if the love is not flowing, it actually takes effort. It takes tension. It takes work to hold it back. That's what causes our stress, right? Is holding back the flow of love. And the good news about that is that all we have to do then is surrender to our natural state. In love, we become love, unfolding love. That's pulling the hood off, right? And that's how easy it can be, is a simple breeze goes through the trees. That's what surrender is, right? The girl didn't have to come down and pull the hood off at all. All she had to do is say, I'll help you. And love happens, right? Haven't we all experienced that in our lives? One time or another, when we just surrender to love, and love happens. Love cures everything. So there are two fundamental questions we can ask in any situation. What's standing in the way of love flowing through me in this moment of seeing this person or this situation as love unfolding love? What must I be willing to commit to in order to move through this block and be the truth of spirit that I am? The truth of spirit that I am, pure love. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and really ponder this at a deeper level. Maybe think about a person or a situation that you have resistance toward, that is causing you some concern or worry. And notice how it feels thinking about this. And first, give love to yourself. accept yourself completely with whatever your reaction or difficulty is in that situation. Love yourself unconditionally. Fill up with love. Just surrender and let that love fill you up. And now see it as you fill up, if you can just allow it to flow over and go to the situation or person where there's difficulty or tension or conflict. Unconditional love. Just surrender. If it's hard to do, just surrender. Let it flow. And just bring your awareness back whenever you're ready. How'd that feel? Pretty darn good, right? I see some thumbs up over there. Cool. Did you know that that we avoid people who we dislike less about how we feel about them than how we feel about ourselves when we're in their presence? How we feel about our judgment, right? Because that doesn't feel good. Letting the love flow. You know, anytime that we feel it's hard to love someone else or a situation, it means one thing, what we just did in that short meditation, which is to love ourselves unconditionally. Wherever we're at in that process, if I'm angry, love myself with my anger. What I often say to people, and this is something that comes out on our retreats on Catalina Island all the time, because we encourage everyone to be who you are in the moment. If you're angry, be angry, right? Get it out. Don't hold it back. If you're sad, cry it out. And one of the beautiful things when we're on this retreat is when people, I noticed, I was talking about this with a client the other day, is when people are crying, they very seldom wipe the tears away. Because it feels so good to let that feeling out. To be in, it's a cleansing, right? If you're happy, laugh out loud. If you're angry, scream at the ocean. If it's not okay to be angry, then it's not okay to be me. That's the opposite of self-love. It's accepting myself wherever I am at, right? And I really believe, you know, the theme is about speaking truth, right? I'm going to speak my truth. I get on my soapbox about this sometimes. I believe that in our teaching, where we could be better is we could emphasize self-love more. To me, the very first, you know, Science of Mind 101, Foundations, whatever we call it now, could be all about self-love. Because here's the thing. I'll throw out some percentages. You might agree or disagree with this. But I would say our teaching is around 75% focused on how to manifest what you want in life, right? And then another, you know, maybe 20% on spiritual practice, which can include self-love, but doesn't necessarily emphasize it. And then maybe 5% on self-love. But here's the thing. We can't manifest any more than we feel we deserve. And what we feel we deserve is completely and totally aligned with how much we love ourselves unconditionally. Unconditionally. And so here's the thing I tell my clients all the time is that, you know, because the hardest time to love ourselves is when we make a mistake, when things aren't going well, when we see our bank account going down, right? But the true test of self-love is not loving ourselves. You know, if I just gave the best talk I've ever given in the world, it's easy to love myself then. When I bomb, and I can only think of one time that happened, but I remember it really, really well. But because this was my practice, it was okay, because I realized this is an opportunity to love myself in my failure, if you want to call it a failure. It's an opportunity to grow, right? And that's the truth of it, is that if the true test of self-love is loving myself when things aren't looking so great, then the only time that we can exponentially raise our self-love is when things are not looking so good, right? So if we can just make that reframe, things are going bad, rather than, oh, this is horrible, got to fix this. This is an opportunity to exponentially increase my self-love. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes again and just take that to a deeper place. What would it be like if in your greatest failure you saw this as an opportunity to love yourself unconditionally? And how about loving yourself unconditionally right now? In this very moment, take a deep breath. Because you are beautiful. I can see it standing up here looking at all of you. And bring your awareness back when you're ready. Self-love. I'll say something more about that in a moment. I want to talk a little bit about the play shop we're doing today called Busting Loose from the Money Game. Sometimes I call it Busting Loose from All Limitations. It's based on a book by Robert Scheinfeld. And it's not really about money, it's really about consciousness. And so I'll give you a quote from the book. And if you resonate with this quote, then this book and this workshop is for you. If you think this is too crazy, because it is kind of crazy, then it's probably not for you. He says that when we get to the place in consciousness where we realize it's no better to have $1 million than it is to owe $1 million, then we'll have the consciousness that will allow us to create whatever we want with a snap of our fingers. It's a crazy idea. And yet, can you feel the peace and the power in that, right? Here's the way that the author describes it. It's not a new idea. This is non-attachment with this guy named Siddhartha Gautama a few years ago. Said something about non-attachment, right? But here's the way the author, it's kind of Buddhism in modern day terms. This was a Buddhist sanctuary? Good connection. So he says that if I'm saying one situation in the world of form is better than another situation, then what I'm saying is that the world of form has power over my inner experience, which makes me kind of powerless, right? But if I recognize that the only thing that's important is how I feel inside, can I feel abundance? The true test of prosperity consciousness is not feeling prosperous when the bank account is overflowing. I don't know what to do with all this money. The true test of prosperity consciousness is, can I feel prosperous when I just lost $20,000 in a bad investment? And I can attest to that one. So that's the power of it, non-attachment. If we're attached to anything, we're actually putting negative energy into that thing, right? Because there's always some fear that what I don't want to happen will happen, or what I want to happen won't happen. When I am non-attached, at least relatively non-attached, totally non-attached would be an ideal, but it's about a practice. More and more non-attachment brings more and more inner peace. In fact, I have found it's the only way to true inner peace. So the workshop, we're going to do a few exercises. One of them is about gratitude, but I'll call it radical gratitude. It's not just being grateful for the things that we really like in life, but being grateful for the things that challenge us the most. It's a complete turnaround. Because everything that we resist, here's my favorite phrase that I say probably 30 times a week. Whatever we resist not only persists, but magnifies, becomes stronger. Whatever we embrace becomes our ally, our teacher, and our friend. Right? So we're going to practice radical gratitude, and we're also going to do an exercise that guaranteed will eliminate or at least greatly, exponentially reduce negative self-talk, because that's the opposite of love. And one way to assess when there's negative thought is when you make a really bad mistake, what happens, what do you hear in your head, right? If it's not, it's okay, I love you unconditionally, I love myself unconditionally, then this exercise will cure that. So we're going to do a lot of other fun things. That's just a little teaser. So if you don't have plans today, join us. You'll be glad you did. People walk out of these workshops just walking on air. Happens every time. If you do have plans, change them. If you absolutely can't change them, if the warden's calling you back, then sign up on our mailing list. Next time we're doing this, we'll let you know. So let's see. How do I want to end this? You know, I wasn't going to talk about this, but that slideshow that came up at the end of the meditation was beautiful. And that was a beautiful meditation. I wanted to say that personally, but I'll have to do it in front of everyone since I didn't get a chance. So it was a slideshow of the caterpillar going into chrysalis and then becoming, obviously, the butterfly. So Barbara Marx Hubbard used to talk about this. I think it wasn't her original quote or idea, but some scientists were studying this chrysalis process. And what they found in studying the caterpillar, that it had within us something called imaginal cells. Isn't that a great term, imaginal cells? And the imaginal cells contain the blueprint for the caterpillar to become the butterfly, right? And so what happens in the life of a caterpillar is these imaginal cells are trying to take over, right? Because they know the potential, they know the possibility, right? But the caterpillar, it means the death of the caterpillar. So the caterpillar's immune system is fighting these imaginal cells off all the time until finally the caterpillar grows older and older and its immune system gets weaker and weaker and it can no longer do so. And all the while, these imaginal cells are communicating with each other, getting stronger, sharing DNA, communication, information, wisdom, and then you know the end of the story. So the cool thing about this metaphor, we've heard, you know, the metaphor of the butterfly being personal transformation, but it's also a metaphor for global transformation, right? Because you, we, and everyone in Centers for Spiritual Livings, everyone doing self-growth and spiritual growth anywhere, are the imaginal cells of global transformation. And have you had that experience where people, the mainstream, you know, the status quo is fighting you off and your ideas, right? But you are here. You have persevered. We are the ones we have waited for. And there's more and more imaginal cells that are joining. And even though there's a lot of things going on in the world that aren't easy right now, as you said about being a kid, right? All this stuff has to come up. It is the chrysalis, because we can't heal the shadow until we see it. We can't heal it till we feel it. So that's what it's about. All right, so my final thing about self-love is this. This phrase came to me a little while back that I was talking to a client about self-love, and this is the phrasing that came to me, is that when I love myself unconditionally, what I realize in that moment is that I am not myself. I am, in fact, the self. I am, in fact, true love. And so are you. And I love you so much. Thank you for having me. Yeah, let's do that. Let's take a deep healing breath and let out a big heartful sigh. And just once again, feel that pure love of spirit welling up inside you. Trust it. Know this is the truth of spirit that I am. This is the truth of spirit that I am. This is the truth of spirit that I am. Feel it overflowing now, filling this incredible, beautiful sanctuary with all the positive energy in here, streaming beyond the walls of this sanctuary, spanning the entire planet, creating a blanket of love all around the planet, seeing, feeling more and more imaginal cells coming together, touching each other. The chrysalis is happening, and the butterfly is imminent. Let's feel ourselves now flying on the wings of butterflies with love everywhere. This is what we are called to do and to be. And so it is.
Yes. Thank you, Reverend Patrick. That was just wonderful. And remember, if you liked what you heard here, he will be after service at 1 o'clock. He'll be out doing his what is it, busting loose from the money game, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's now time for our conscious contributions. And so if you're here live in our studio, so to speak, here in the sanctuary, then there's offering envelopes in the pews, and we would love for you to put your name on the offering envelope so that we know who it comes from and we can keep you in our hearts. If you're online, there are 3 ways for you to give. One is online at ahiah.com/donate. And then you can also text the word give to 616-229-2225, and then it will walk you through the process. And then finally, you can always mail a check in here to Ahiah. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has put a lovely card in with their checks. I read all of those cards. I put them in my office. It reminds me of the love that this congregation has, and they're just beautiful, so thank you for that. But however you give, let's go ahead and do a blessing together. We've got it showing up on our screen here. Let's read that together. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving, as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. And we have the lovely Elizabeth Hangan right here. Let's go ahead and have her do another song.
Right. This song is entitled Times Like These. It's written by the Foo Fighters. And I kind of was sat on this for a while, but you know, I really like the lyrics on this. They're not all sugary, and this is pretty much, if this is what's going on, you know, it's time, take advantage of these times and learn to live and love again. I'm a one-way motorway. I'm the one that drives away, then follows you back home. Why? I'm a street light shining. I'm a white light, blind and bright, burning off and on. Well, it's times like these you learn to live again. And it's times like these you learn to give again. And it's times like these you learn to love again. Well, it's times like these, time and time again. I'm a new day rising. I'm a brand new sky that hangs stars upon at night. Yeah, and I'm a little divided. Do I stay or run away or leave it all behind? Yeah, well, it's times like these you learn to live again. it's times like these you give and you give again. And it's times like these you learn to love again. Well, it's times like these, time and time again. Verse. I'm a new day rising. I'm a brand new day that hangs stars upon at night. Oh, and yes, I'm a little divided. Do I stay or run away or leave it all behind? Yeah, well, it's times like these you learn to live again. Yes, and it's times like these you give and give again. Yeah, it's times like these you learn to love again. Well, it's times like these, time and time again. Well, it's times like these, time and time again. Yes, it's times like these you learn to love again. Oh, well, it's times like these you learn to live again. Oh, well, it's times like these, time and time again. Isn't that a great song? Yes. Thank you.
It's not just a great song.
Thank you to the band.
It's sung greatly.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, I love it when musicians put their emotions into their songs because it hits us, you know, right here. So thank you, Elizabeth.
No, thank you.
So, we have a lovely, wonderful youth program. Now, our kids, they just came back last night from the airport. And so Miss Lisa is taking a night off or a day off after a week of being with teenagers. So let's just give them some love and know absolutely that they are our family. So, you know, I want to, before we start telling you about all the things that are coming up, I just want to say, you know, we've got so much going on here at Ahiah. And I get to participate in practically all of it, which is lovely. And this last week, you know, last Sunday we had Christine Sky was here, and we had a lovely, you know, energy balancing process that was done after service. It was great. And then on Tuesday we had Tracy Robertson. Any of you guys remember? He was here, used to live here, used to go to the book study a lot and the healing service a lot. He had a Sunday gig at another church, so he wasn't here on Sunday much. But he had to move because of the pandemic to Ithaca, New York. But he came here and he rented the classroom, and he had Vocal Bloom as his organization. They did a song circle here. And oh man, I felt so good after that. You know, I really did. I just had such a good time. And then last night, because I wasn't speaking today, I could take a Saturday night, and I went to Cecilia's free concert. It was a one-woman show. It was in Beverly Hills. And so it was free. You know, it was just Ahiah adjacent because she used to sing here is how we found out about it. But boy, is she marvelous, you know. So the point of the story is we got so much going on, you just got to, you know, embrace it. You just got to go do it. So I do want to remind you that today is kind of the last day for us to gather up all the stuff to support the kids' Friends and Deeds program, our back to school initiative to get backpacks full of stuff for 400 kids that need their stuff. We're not supplying 400 kids. Friends and Deeds indeed is. But every nickel, every dollar, every $5 bill, whatever you can afford, you can give here by going. You can text to give $20 or $5 or whatever to back, and that'll go to this here. So, you know, we love your generosity and your supporting of Friends Indeed. And then Reverend Patrick talked a little bit about what he's doing today. Malachi, did you want to talk about the youth? Let me get you in just a second. He's got the busting loose from the money game showing up at 1 o'clock. So after fellowship is over, right back there in our fellowship hall, we got Reverend Patrick for another 2-hour workshop. It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it. And then we have the Pastoral Care Committee is putting together another one of our wonderful just fellowship times. And that's coming together on July 23rd. Also that day, Dorothy back there, our own Dorothy Waterman, will be leading us in a laughter yoga workshop for an hour. So on the 23rd, that's next week, right? So we got 2 things going on. And then we've got concerts in the park. That's coming up on the 22nd. And let me get Malachi to come up and tell us a little bit about youth camp.
Good morning, everybody. Hello. Harris, come on up. All right. I'm half awake right now. I just really wanted to be here and decompress. I didn't prepare anything, but I did want to stand up here and say something. Camp was amazing. There's a man named Ben at camp, and he says, "You've been bitten with the bug." And I was driving here this morning, and I realized that he was totally right. And if I'm being honest, during the camp, I had my own ups and downs, and I was quite uncomfortable at certain times. And I told myself, I even told you this, that this was my last camp. And then driving here today, I realized that statement wasn't true. I was just uncomfortable. And I also realized why I'm here in the first place and why I keep going to camp. And so I just want to thank everybody for guiding me here and being a part of this journey. And I'm so thankful for Harris. He's the one that really was the first person I saw when I got to camp. And he's the one that kept me going back as a teen and then also as an advisor. And I couldn't be more happy to be with him at camp.
Thanks, man. Yeah, yeah, I've been watching Malachi come to camp since. Were you like 13 the first time you came? 14? Yeah. Okay, so our age range is 13 to 18. So like people or teens usually get there at 13. Sometimes we have 12-year-olds when their ministers and their advisors give permission. But yeah, back when we were teenagers, we both had really long dreads, and we were a bit rowdier than we are now. And it's like, it's been such a long journey with this dude, and he's right though. There is like a bug that you get bit with, especially as an adult, I think, because we're there to serve the teens. Like we don't go to the camp for ourselves. We get a lot out of it, but we're there for the kids that go there. There's a lot of struggle that we become privy to. There's a lot that they tell us. There's a lot that they confide in us, and a lot that we get to share with them as well as mentors and as just like young adults who have grown up in this teaching. That like we try and show that there are ways to be other than what they see in the world on the daily. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but you know, sometimes the truth is just like that. You know, more things to say. Okay.
So I want to say one good thing and one bad thing. So
It's rough out there. It's rough.
yeah. I didn't realize, it's kind of funny, I'm going to say this, but I didn't realize it was an active service 24/7 around clock throughout the whole week.
7 days.
7 days. And so you can probably see it in how I look and how I speak at the moment that I'm completely drained. But like I said, I was never a time that I wasn't in an active service. And so there was just no time for me. And that's okay. That's perfectly okay. That's what I was there to help. But there was this, we did A's and B's, and you stand there and they come and bless you and tell you. And as a teen, I was told different things. And now as an advisor, I'm being told from these teens, you know, how much I've affected their lives, or just the things they told me during the ceremony. I never really thought I made that big of an impact in their lives. And so it was just a beautiful thing. It was like a benefit reward type of thing. And I'm tired.
Yeah, we call it a spiritual retreat, but it's really more like a spiritual boot camp. 7 days, like from 7 a.m. to sometimes like 11:30 at night. We're just working hard. We actually, this year went really smooth, and we ended early most nights, which is a blessing. But I want to clarify what A's and B's is really fast, because there's like a lot of buzzwords that we kind of forget after going for more than 10 years that other people just don't know. So A's and B's is a nurturing exercise that is the whole point is to give and accept love unconditionally and with complete trust. So there's usually about, when we do it as a huge group, it's about half the camp stands in the center of a circle. We all encircle them, and they close their eyes, and you kind of want to demonstrate the stance. Yeah, you know, just like accepting, very accepting stance, just ready. And the people on the outside walk in and through the circle, and in no particular order, just go up and, you know, like nurture, give physical touch, say like really nice things to the person who is receiving. And that goes for everyone who gives and everyone who receives. So everybody gets a chance to just feel like this crazy energy. And it's one of the highlights. But I want to say that it really changes lives. And so if you know teenagers, bring them here. Malachi will like show them the ropes. Once we get some sleep, and once we figure out how things can work in here a little bit smoother, I'll also probably be hanging out with the teens more. So, but something else I did want to say Sorry, trying to clap us off, but it's okay. We just have a lot. For any young adults in here, there's also, sorry, I'm just like, I got a plug for you. But there is a next gen retreat. So for people 18 to about 50, there's a treat for adults where we get to do basically all the stuff that we do at teen camp. It's probably really similar to Reverend Patrick's retreat on Catalina Island. And it's just a really loving, nurturing space. You get to work on anything that you want to work on, open up, get different perspectives, feel just that agape kind of vibe, and just be free. It's really nice. So I encourage you all to check it out and ask us for more information. Go talk to Reverend Harbula about the retreat on Catalina. Talk to Reverend Scott about Big Sky. Get out there and raise the level of that what was the word? Imaginal self, that consciousness. Get into it, and we're changing the world. We really are.
Yes. Thank you, guys. I just wanted to say the A and B process, they used to have it at Asilomar because they had a huge teen program there at Asilomar. And if you want to go see, and the adults would go and the teens would come in and nurture the adults. If you want to see a puddle of tears and other things, I've never seen adults break down as much as I've seen in that process. And that's what the teens do for each other. I say this all the time, our youth program is work. This isn't a babysitting service. It's the kids doing the work they need to do in order to live the life of their dreams. So anyway, couple more things real quickly, and then we'll do a congregational. Compassionate Living, I'll be doing a workshop the 4 Saturdays in August from 1 to 3:30. Put that on your calendar. It's I'm using the book Tattoos on the Heart. And what people tell me constantly is they come up and they ask for prayer, and they say, one of the things I hear all the time is, how do I become less judgmental? How do I live a life where I'm not judging everybody negatively all the time? How do I judge myself less? This workshop will teach you some of the things that you need to know in order to do that. And then, Friends and Family Day is the 23rd or the 13th of August. You should have gotten a little business card size thing. That is for you to give to a friend or a family member or whatever to come. Invite them to come here on that day. We're going to have food. The board is bringing food. And, we'll just be together in fellowship afterwards. It'll be wonderful. We'll have a lot of fun. And there's going to be a $50 grand prize. We'll have a couple more prizes for a drawing. If you bring a friend, you get a ticket for the drawing. So anyway, we're bribing you just a little bit, all right? Bring some friends. And last but not least, Christine Sky will be back again in August. So look for that. So Elizabeth, take us away.
There was a time. Oh, did you want to do that? Okay. You sure? Go ahead. There was a time in my life I thought I'd have to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you're discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. Everybody say, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. With my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more. Come on, sing, y'all. Yeah. I release. Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. All right.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Let's go ahead and say the benediction together. It's showing up on our screen here. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all my affairs. I accept it. I am it, and I share it. Just the way it appears, and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. And we have our coffee here in the fellowship hall. Would love to have you there. And remember, Reverend Patrick's doing a workshop at 1 o'clock. I'll see you on the other side down here. Thank you. I love you guys. See you next week.